Hello and welcome to the Libra full moon activation. I'm Adrienne Elise. Thank you so much for joining me. There is such potent energy right now going on. It's hard to make sense of what's really happening. It kind of harkens back to this last couple of years of deep changes in healing happening behind the scenes in our life and in our world. And yet we're not quite sure what that really means for us. So this Libra full moon is really about a culmination of this period of astrology. As what's happening here is this full moon is coming right up to Jupiter in Libra, and that's opposing Uranus and Aries. So Uranus is this change maker planet, this lightning fast change, unexpected energy. And anytime really you get Jupiter and Uranus together, there can be quite an energy for unexpected changes. And so this is what a lot of us have been going through. And with the sun and the moon, the sun being in next to Uranus and Aries, the moon near Jupiter in Libra. So we've got this Libra Aries axis really highlighted, and it's speaking to this whole last 5-6 years of this Pluto Uranus square. So the sun and the moon have never really quite triggered this square in the way that they're doing now with Jupiter. Jupiter is making a T-square with the Pluto-Uranus square this year. And Jupiter is our expander planet, our growing planet. It's more. And what is being expanded on right now in this Libra full moon, it's a big culmination around our journey within in our relationships. So this full moon can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people, but it generally is probably going to have to do with your relationships, with Venus in retrograde. And Venus has been in retrograde since the beginning of March and won't go direct until April 15th. And Venus is our relationship planet. It's what we value. It's what we care about. And so with Jupiter in the sign of intimate relationships, now this is your relationship to yourself as well. So your general sense of relating in the world. And Venus is a ruler of Libra. So this is all exalted around the energy of the goddess. And Libra is also an air sign, though, and so wants to figure out, wants to understand, wants to see both sides. We're having a massive expansion right now in the way we relate to other people. And why is that so important? This is how we're getting to the next place. And so we're feeling this culmination of energy from this Venus retrograde on this full moon, with Jupiter so triggered by the full moon, and Jupiter expanding in our relationships, bringing revelations, bringing realizations, and opening. It's really an opportunity to open our heart, and not just to love, but to the life we really want. With Venus retrograde, it's about what do we really want? What do we really care about? What really matters to us in our core? And so as we're coming to this completion of this Venus retrograde, which will still feel this energy for the rest of April, but coming up on where Venus is turning direct. Now Venus, this relationship, what we care about, our revaluing that's going on, is hanging out with Chiron just as it turns direct on the 15th. So that's next Saturday, the 15th, where we're really going to feel like we're coming out of this retrograde motion, although we won't really feel it until Mercury goes direct. And that happens on May 3rd. So this whole month of April is a strange territory of going back, making realizations, healing the past, and getting ready to leap off in new directions. But that's not really going to come until the end of May, when we have Mercury coming out of shadow on the 21st and Venus coming out of shadow on the 19th. And so later in the month, and we're going to have a new moon, and Mercury is in retrograde, and the Mercury retrograde happens in Taurus, but then it's bringing Mercury back into Aries. And so coming back up with Uranus in Aries, where the sun is right now. And so Mercury, the messenger in this retrograde, its journey is to this place of Uranus in Aries, telling us finally, the scribe, the messenger, understanding in our everyday life what this Uranus and Aries means for us. Uranus is the revolutionary change maker, and it's in the sign of the self. And so the revolution right now in the time that we live in is our revolution within, around who are we and what do we really care about. This Venus retrograde in Aries, spending so many weeks in Aries. Now it's in Pisces, but it's had so many weeks in Aries. And this is qualifying this whole journey. So this is so interesting that Mercury, as it goes retrograde, is coming up with Uranus and saying, what do we need to know more about this Uranus and Aries, this activation of this generational change, this preparation for the Aquarian age of the future. Venus, when it is going and turning retrograde, going to turn direct, it's retrograding back to Chiron in Pisces. Chiron, the wounded healer, but Chiron is also the shaman. It's about going through our experiences, having a death and rebirth cycle in our life, and coming into our true gifts. That's the energy of Chiron. And a lot of people are getting activated right now in the 45 to 55 age group with Chiron return because of this Venus activating Chiron right now. And so when Chiron returns in your chart, meaning it comes back to the place when you were born, it's an activation, especially for this generation, the very first indigos, activation into their true purpose. So this awakening process is happening. This is really powerfully pushed along by Saturn in Sagittarius. Now, Saturn just turned retrograde on the 6th. So this next week, when we have Jupiter's been in retrograde, we're going to have Mercury now has just turned to retrograde, and we have Venus still retrograde, and Saturn has turned retrograde. So this next week is a very strange week where we have Venus approaching Chiron, squaring Saturn that's at the galactic center point. So as Saturn, when a planet goes and turns retrograde, it lingers at a degree for a long time. Saturn is a relatively slow-moving planet. And so this whole month it's hanging out at 27 degrees Sagittarius, which is the destiny point. This is the galactic center. This is where we're all headed. And so it has a feeling of kind of being pulled unexpectedly, reluctantly perhaps, into your destiny. So that is squaring up with Venus going back and hanging out with Chiron. And we're going to be feeling this for pretty much the whole month of April. And so Venus is what we care about, what we love, and coming up with Chiron, it's about that woundedness around this, a woundedness around the goddess within, woundedness around what we really value, and a whole evolution potentially trying to happen here on Earth around revaluing our life, that where we can stack up these paper dollars all we want, but what if it's our connection with nature that really makes us happy? You know, so we're, as a collective, having a massive revaluing about what really matters. It's a beautiful thing, and we're going to begin to see more and more this manifest in our outside world as the North Node moves into Leo in the middle of May. So the rest of April and May, still super dynamic, lots of the still retrograde energy. And so this next week with all of these planets in retrograde, it's not a time to try to accomplish too much. It's a time to slow down and understand that you may be a train in the roundhouse waiting to find the right track to go on next. And so don't push too hard. Don't be too hard on yourself. Take lots of time to meditate. And this next week until Venus goes direct. So Venus goes direct on the 15th, but we're not really going to feel that forward motion until Mercury goes direct And that's going to happen on May 3rd. And then Mercury coming back up with Uranus at the end of the month. That's also when Venus is going to be forward motion. It's coming off of Chiron by the end of the month, but it's going to make the third pass over the Aries point. The Aries point is 0 degrees Aries. It is the point of the absolute new beginning, the conception. And it's very potent that this Venus retrograde has caused Venus to go over this point 3 times. This third time is when it's going direct after the retrograde. So this is the one that really matters. So the end of April is a massive culmination of Mercury triggering that Uranus and Aries, finding out the information we need, deep revaluing systems as of the systems of our life as Venus comes up with Chiron and Pisces, and as it turns direct and then goes over this Aries point. The Aries point is the spark of creation. It's where all things are possible. So everything starts as this spark. And that is the most potent energy we can tap into at this time. For this full moon in Libra, the expanding in our relationships, our relationship to ourselves, what we really care about, coming to these realizations, and then looking at the rearranging through April of how do we move forward on these? How do we allow ourselves to be in that magical energy where you have no idea what this spark is going to become? In fact, it's so raw, it is up for review continually. Our destiny, our life path, we are creating it as we go along. And this is what this Venus retrograde is saying. And so it's saying, instead of focusing on exactly how to do it and exactly what you want to do, focus on the feeling and what really matters to you and the feeling of moving forward on your destiny. And we have no choice with this Saturn on the galactic center squaring up with Venus and Chiron. So a super potent full moon of a culmination of energies and an opportunity to begin shifting, letting this energy of dynamic shifting with Mercury coming up with Uranus and Aries, and the sun and the moon triggering this T-square. It's time to let the changes happen in our life. And a lot of us have been trying to make changes happen, positive changes. But the thing about that is that we don't really know what's best for us in our highest self. And so we're plodding along and maybe being so eager to move forward, but maybe we're not on the right path. So all this retrograde energy right now is like, hold up, wait up, let's get the information we need with Mercury going back to visit Uranus and Aries. Let's heal the past. This Venus coming up with Chiron is an opportunity to completely step out of the old you. And this retrograde energy and Venus going back into Pisces is kind of taking us back into the winter. It's kind of taking us back into the Scorpio energy of the last few years, this watery kind of intensity of deep subconscious shifting, deep healing, looking at our core issues. So we are revisiting this place right now, but that is only to get clear on the feeling and the values, how we want to value ourselves moving forward, how our relationships are shifting and changing, how we're stepping out of the way and allowing our destiny to come in, the higher part of ourselves, to lead us into this future that may be better than we can even imagine. And so how about we stop trying to control it and allow it to unfold? The key to that is understanding that we are creating our destiny, even if we don't know what it is. But we're creating out of this is the potent energy with this Venus coming up with Chiron and Pisces square the galactic center. The core issues that are coming up for you right now are exactly the issues that are keeping you from your destiny. They are also, underneath those issues, are gifts and treasures that are important to your life path. And so we're being open, but understanding that we want to create out of a place that feels good. And this is the Venus retrograde. It's like, I want to be gentler, and I want to have a simpler life, and I want to be nicer to myself, and I want to feel my way into these shifts and changes based on my new value system that this Venus retrograde has allowed us to have. So there's a great opportunity to get out of the way and let your life shift into a more appropriate support system for your work on the planet. And it's a really exciting time for that. And like I said, we'll be beginning to see the seeds and the expression of all of this consciousness shift in May, as we have this dynamic time, Mercury going direct, Venus coming out of shadow, Mercury coming out of shadow. That's all by the 21st. And then there's a new moon at the end of the month in May. And then Mercury coming up with Uranus at the end of April. So all of these triggers. And so April and May are super dynamic, not huge forward motion times, but then when the nodes move in to Leo in the middle on May 10th, and then we come out of the shadow period for Venus and Mercury retrograde, then we're going to be really feeling that new reality kick in. And so let's go ahead and tap into this energy. You can get into the feeling, into the vibration, into the pure expression of this life that you're heading to, that is your destiny, that you maybe didn't think you deserved, or you maybe didn't even think you had. This is people's life rearranging according to their destiny, is what this Pluto-Uranus square is all about. It's about, let's get to work and do what we're here to do and get on the program with creating this new world. And now it's going to be more clear. And now the infrastructure is going to be there to support you. And so it's time to surrender and feel your way through into the future. So let's use this potent Libra expansive energy in this expanding possibilities of this full moon, possibilities in relationships, in our relating to the world, in our relationship with ourself, into our new self, our new identity, our destiny, and leaving behind like an old worn out coat that no longer serves us, those stories and belief systems of our ancestors from past lives or conditioning of this life that are no longer serving us. That's that Venus and Chiron. So go ahead and allow yourself to come home into this energy, taking a few deep breaths. And feel yourself arrive right here, right now in this now moment. Feeling this potent astrological alignment begin to take place. The sun and the moon are what's called our most personal planets. They move quickly and they affect our daily life. So the message here is that this generational change that's been trying to happen is now landing in our everyday life. So what does that look like for each of us? We don't know yet. But we can feel into it. We can feel an energy of expanded possibility on this Libra full moon. Expanded possibility to make your dreams come true. As you align with your true desire in this lifetime, your true path, your dharma. So this is a lot of the energy here of this lining up, the sun and the moon opposite each other, both doing a dance with these powerful planets of unexpected, expansive, lucky, synchronistic change. So we're lining up our emotional life, our emotional self, which is the moon. The sun is our identity, how we express ourselves in this world. Everything's lining up with these changes. Everyone's getting on board. All the parts of yourself. And surrendering into the next chapter. Just taking a few deep breaths, feeling the base of your spine reach down and connect with Mother Earth Gaia. Just feel Mother Earth coming up to meet you. We've got Mercury turning retrograde in Taurus. Got some attention on the Earth and what the Earth has to do with our journey into the future. And Mercury is going to go back and talk to Uranus about this. And get on the page. So like you just let yourself feel this activation that's happening on the Earth right now. There's a lot of people awakening spontaneously, coming into their true path. Perhaps it feels like their life is changing dramatically. What we're doing here is releasing the fabricated grid of our materialistic reality that we've been chained into. And just imagine this kind of like a spider web, a sticky spider web around the planet. Just imagine you can step back and look at the whole planet here. But beyond that sticky spider web is this living grid. This contains what are called the Gaia codes, Mother Earth's codes of awakening and evolution. So it feels like when you go through a lot of changes, like it's happening for a lot of people right now, and it's kind of nice to have this retrograde energy in a way to just kind of take a breather, reorient yourself, get your realizations, get your information that's coming through, and get ready to perhaps point in a different direction as things start moving again. But these changes are making people's lives different. And at first it feels like things might be falling apart, but it's only the false grid that is rather materialistic and kind of set in place as almost like a technological energetic grid. And this grid has served the purpose to keep us in a lower vibrational frequency, which has to do with fear and scarcity. But if you look at it from this far back, you can see that it's just a mechanism. And when you put it next to the living grid that's waiting for us to fall into, when we let the material grid fall away, there's just no comparison in power and energy. And just check out the pulsating living grid of beautiful colors swirling around planet Earth. You can see that that's no match for the mechanical technology-based reality that has been created for us. And just imagine that you can connect now with Mother Earth, the living grid. She has an electromagnetic field, and we also have an electromagnetic field. Just imagine that you're hugging Mother Earth and bringing your heart in resonant frequency with this living grid, Mother Earth Gaia, and feel yourself being held by her. Feel the energy around you in your house, in your room, in your neighborhood begin to shift as those around you come into this heart frequency resonance. What would life look like if we lived our life from this place? This place is where you can connect to the true you, part of you that transcends this lifetime, your sex, your profession, your what you call yourself. This part of you knows exactly what you want to accomplish in this life. Why are you here on earth? You don't need to know that exactly, but you do. Life is bringing you, redirecting you to get on that path. Feel that your higher path of service, of purpose, why you even bothered to come to Earth in this crazy place, feel that it's in alignment energetically with the living grid. You can use the living grid to help you tap into the truth of who you really are and what you really want to express in this incarnation on planet Earth. And just breathing into your heart, imagining that you're breathing with Mother Earth, breathing into the living grid. Can you fill the grid with life, with your breath? And just imagine all the awakening people on the planet breathing together with Mother Earth Gaia, the living grid. Just see that the energy is growing and so beautiful and so harmonious, and it's just breaking the chains. It's expanding beyond the mechanical grid. The mechanical grid is kind of just falling over to the side, and the living grid is taking over. This is a feeling in your life when you surrender to things that are beyond your control and trust they're good for you, and trust that the living grid is catching you even though your physical reality may be falling apart. Just feel yourself in free fall. Feel yourself activated in your heart with this connection with Mother Earth Gaia and your secret chakra, just below the area of the heart in the diaphragm, where you have a potential to have a connection to the cosmos. And just feel yourself floating, held by the cosmos and by Mother Earth. Your heart is opening. You're coming deeper and deeper into still point, leaving everything else behind. It will be there when you get back, but for right now, you're going to come into true resonance with your truth. There's a part of you that was here before this incarnation, before any incarnation, and that part of you who will always be here. And just go ahead and spend some time, it's Venus retrograde, evaluating, reevaluating your relationship with yourself. Feel the beautiful feeling of being with your most beautiful self. This is you. The spiritual energy you might have thought was some source outside of yourself is actually you. So when we're talking about connecting with your true self, it feels good. This is the energy you want to manifest from in your everyday life, in your destiny, in your path. So just feel into it, move deeper and deeper into the heart, receiving an energy wave to support this heart chakra opening and activation, and invitation for the secret chakra to activate, connecting you into the cosmos, held again by Mother and Father, and just let yourself release and relax. Breathing into your heart, going deeper and deeper into still point. From this place, it's clear where you want to go, where you want to spend your time. Right here. There's nothing to do, nothing to be, nothing to accomplish. This is how you get into resonance with your future destiny. You don't try to go out and figure it out. You come into alignment and let the universe work through you. Life living life. Just breathe into your heart, imagining you're breathing in the earth from below and the cosmos from above, and feeding that living grid, your living grid and the earth living grid with every breath, breathing in air, light, and prana, expanding your energy field, expanding using this Jupiter energy to expand your emotional resonance with this new relationship to your true self. That this is what will guide you in each decision as you are pummeled into your destiny in this very unique time on planet Earth. Just taking a few deep breaths and feeling yourself align, like the planets, the sun and the moon coming into this exact opposition, hanging out with Jupiter and Uranus, squaring Pluto. Feel yourself align with your most optimal future based on this renewed and revalued connection with your true self. Feel yourself like a magnet going for magnetic north. This is your North Star, your future karma, your destiny. And feel that there's nothing you need to do besides let it unfold. This next week of retrograde energy is a perfect time to let your inner life unfold before you. The mysteries of you becoming revealed, helping you revalue yourself and step on that true path that feels so good, so deeply satisfying. Finally, expressing who you really are in this world. What does that look like? Just see if there's any information, images. Your highest guidance can help you with your next steps or what it might look like as you move into the future in this new alignment. And just receive, just resting there, deeply supported by the cosmos and Mother Earth. Everyone is so happy you're here on Earth, ready to be in alignment with your destiny and have this expansive expression of your unique way of expressing the divine. Is there any information your guides have for you today? Next steps, packages, open up the package, receive the gifts, meditate with them, be with them, see the images, feel yourself gently shifting, finding that magnetic north in alignment with the truth of who you are and your best way to express it in this life. And just taking a few breaths, just arriving in outer space, your inner landscape, floating, recalibrating, readjusting to this alignment, receiving an energy wave to adjust on a cellular level as well as physical, spinal alignment to this new alignment. Feel yourself receiving an adjustment, a cellular DNA level, as well as in the structure, large structures of your body. Life is different when you're in alignment with your true self. Feel yourself being pulled into the future, the most appropriate future, optimal timeline. You don't have to go find it. Let it find you by getting out of the way. Just taking a few deep breaths, enjoying this peace. Feel the interconnectedness and the living grid with all the other souls waking up. Just like magic, like waking up out of a sleep, stumbling upon their soul destiny. Switching from how do I survive this life on planet Earth to how do I thrive? Just receiving potent energy healing from the center of the galaxy. Your destiny is to thrive. Part of the programming we're leaving behind is the survival, scarcity and lack. You are abundant. Feel your abundance. Know that is truth. Breathe into that abundance. You are that was here before everything. Absolute potential. Just taking a few deep breaths. You just take your time, but begin your journey back into your everyday awareness. Just bringing with you this peace, this feeling of connection to Mother and Father. This massive angelic healing energy, bright purple, coming from the center of the galaxy, that galactic center. You're now in alignment with the part of you that's in the galactic center, part of you that knows where you're going, where all of you are going, where everyone is going. Hard to grasp in our everyday personality, ego complex, psychological mind. So just feeling this deep connection with your true self, and how potent that is compared to all the other noise. Our belief system structures are tied up into this mechanical grid. So just imagine that you could cut away all ties, all energy, all attachment, all need for the mechanical grid, for your false sense of self, and just feel like you see and feel yourself releasing from the mechanical grid and connecting, letting yourself fall and be held by the living grid, where you've always been a part of the abundance that is the truth of who you are. And just breathe that into your heart, feeling that abundance. Breathe that into the whole planet, this connection with Mother Earth Gaia, breaking the chains of this mechanical reality and opening up potential and possibility to experience for more souls, more beings to experience and trust, surrender to the living grid. Let's take a few deep breaths as you begin to come back into your body, into your awareness. Keeping the connection to the cosmos, keeping your peace, your still point, coming back into your body, into your room, paying attention to your physical body, wiggling your fingers and toes, taking a few deep breaths, and when you're ready, coming out of meditation. Wow, what a great journey. I feel like a recalibration and an alignment that I haven't felt before. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm really excited to announce my Goddess Activation is available for download. This is an 8-pillar class series if you want to activate this goddess energy in your life. This is the magical, miracle creation energy that exists in our body, but we may have been programmed to think it's not ours to work with. So that is, I'm going to be launching that as Venus turns retro or turns direct in the middle of the month, and I hope you can join me for that Goddess Activation when you are ready to download those classes. And that's at adriannelise.com/goddess-activation. So thank you so much for journeying with me, and I look forward to next time, this full moon, new moon at the end of further along in April is going to be also really potent this next 2 months. So I hope you can join me for that live activation, and I'll keep you posted until then. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.